JBNN will keep you informed. I'm Michelle Jones. Before we get into the news, please remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and share the news with someone today. Now on to the news. Man killed at fish fry in Barrytown, St. James. One of two men who were shot in Barrytown, Rosehall in St. James on Friday night has died. The incident occurred at about 10 p.m. at a fish fry. According to reports, gunmen approached the venue and opened fire at patrons. The two wounded men were taken to hospital, where one was pronounced dead. The Barrytown incident followed an earlier St. James shooting on Friday, in which 7 persons were shot at the intersection of Hart Street and Corinaldi Avenue in Montego Bay. Alleged West Kingston-based gangster shot dead by police. A reputed top-tier member for West Kingston-based gang was fatally shot by the police on Thursday. Tajai Freeman, 31, otherwise called Wing, of Golden Heights, Denham Town, was fatally shot during a police operation along Macquid Terrace in the St. Andrew South Police Division. Investigators say Freeman was a prominent member of the Scream Corner gang in the Kingston Western Police Division. According to reports, at about 4:10 p.m., the police were carrying out a targeted operation in search of wanted men and persons of interest when they entered a property at 7 Macquid Terrace, Kingston 11. The cops say they were greeted with gunfire, and during a confrontation, Freeman was fatally shot and a gun seized. Investigators say Freeman had been out on bail on a murder charge. Second victim dies from Hart Street gun attack. A second man has died following Friday evening's drive-by shooting on Hart Street in Montego Bay. The deceased has been identified as 27-year-old security guard Malik McDonald of a Hart Street address. His death follows that of 29-year-old Exodus Dunkley of Flagstaff in the parish. Both men were reportedly part of a group that was at the intersection of Hart Street and Corinaldi Avenue when a silver Toyota Axio motorcar drove up. Men alighted from the vehicle armed with high-powered rifles and opened fire at the group. They then escaped the scene in the waiting vehicle. When the shooting subsided, 7 individuals were found to be suffering from gunshot wounds. They were taken to hospital where Dunkley was pronounced dead. McDonald was admitted in serious condition and later succumbed to his injuries hours later. The police say they are looking at different leads in the matter and are urging individuals to come forward to assist in the investigation. Shortly after the shooting, the police in Barrytown were called to deal with another matter where 2 men were shot. One man has subsequently died and the other is in hospital. Agriculture Ministry warns public against chicken looted from container that washed ashore in Hellshire. The Ministry of Agriculture is urging members of the public against consuming, selling, or distributing chicken products that washed ashore in a shipping container along the Hellshire coastline in St. Catherine. The container washed ashore on Thursday, April 3. The Agriculture Ministry says the chicken, labeled under the Brazilian brand Predex, was not intended for the Jamaican market. It says it has confirmed that the container fell from a vessel while in transit to the Cayman Islands. Despite this, there have been widespread reports of looting by members of the public, it notes. The ministry, through its Veterinary Services Division, has not approved the shipment for entry into Jamaica. As such, the chicken meat does not meet Jamaica's safety standards and does not receive the necessary import permits under the Animal Diseases and Importation Act. Further, the public is alerted that the contents of the container would not have been maintained under ideal cold chain frozen conditions, raising serious concerns about food safety and spoilage. It is further highlighted that the highly pathogenic avian influenza bird flu continues to be a growing global threat. Hence, unverified poultry products pose a serious risk to human and animal health and threatens the integrity of Jamaica's poultry industry. Individuals who may have taken any of the products are strongly advised not to consume or feed it to animals and should immediately contact their local public health department for guidance on safe disposal. The public is also urged to report any instances of sale or distribution of these products to the relevant authorities. The ministry thanks the public for its continued cooperation as we work to safeguard public health and the integrity of Jamaica's agricultural sector.
There are several public health concerns surrounding consuming this chicken that was found in the container. For one, it is unclear how long that the container has been adrift or beached, and the chicken has undoubtedly been exposed to uncontrolled temperatures. Without proper refrigeration, raw poultry rapidly becomes a breeding ground for dangerous bacteria such as salmonella. There's a high risk of contamination. The chicken may now be contaminated with Salmonella, E. coli, Listeria, and other harmful bacteria. These bacteria can cause serious foodborne illnesses, especially in children, the elderly, and persons with compromised immune systems, such as cancer patients and diabetics. There's no guarantee of safe handling. The products may not have been inspected or cleared at the point of origin, nor have they been inspected and cleared by the Ministry of Health with the Veterinary Services Division. There's no assurance of proper food handling or hygiene since they were retrieved directly from a damaged shipping container and carried away by individuals under unsanitary conditions. To the individuals who removed the boxes of chicken from the container, please do not consume or sell this meat. Safely dispose of it, as eating or distributing it could lead to widespread illnesses. To the general public, be vigilant. If you are purchasing chicken from street vendors or food establishments, ask questions. Ensure the source of the meat is reputable, and if in doubt, do not consume it. To food business operators and vendors, selling or preparing meals with chicken of unknown and unverified origin is not only unethical, it is dangerous and could result in public health violations or prosecution. As the opposition spokesman on health, I urge the Ministry of Health and Wellness, the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, the Ministry of Commerce, and the Jamaica Constabulary Force to immediately investigate and seize the container to safely dispose of the remaining goods to prevent further risk to public health.
Justice Minister defends police against concerns about fatal shootings. Justice Minister Delroy Chuck has expressed support for the police, asserting that a significant number of police fatal shootings are justifiable. Addressing the matter at a Justices of the Peace Forum at Church Teachers College in Mandeville on Thursday, he said the authorities will not allow gunmen to destroy the country.
And what is the law? The law says you must not use excessive force, you must use reasonable force to apprehend criminals. No doubt, if the criminal is using a toothpick, you don't expect the police to be using deadly force. But if the criminal has a gun, it may well be that deadly force is in fact reasonable force. And that is the law. And that is why Mr. Hugh Faulkner will tell you that in 80 or 90% of the cases, they're able to say justifiable force was used even though the gunman was killed.
When we look at the data, at the end of March, which is just a few days ago, 81 persons were fatally injured. And we reached 81 in 2023 in July. And now we are at the end of March, we are at 81. So that is the concern. In other words, we're saying the security forces can review their activities to decide whether something can be done differently to ensure that there is less loss of life. So we find the numbers to be high, but we do not make a conclusionary comment on the incident.
St. James woman arrested for employment scam. A 29-year-old pharmacy technician has been accused of tricking a woman into paying her more than $270,000 to help secure a job in the Cayman Islands, which did not materialize. Kadeen Swebe of Westgate Hills, St. James, has been charged with larceny by trick in relation to the employment scam perpetrated between April 2023 and September 21, 2024. The Montego Bay Police say in 2023, Swebe persuaded the complainant that her uncle could guarantee an employment opportunity for her in Cayman. The woman reportedly gave Swebe her passport and $18,000 to initiate the hiring process, and then paid $255,000 to secure the position. The woman inquired about the job after some time passed, and she was given numerous excuses. The woman then contacted Swebe's uncle via social networking platform and was told that he was unaware of the arrangement and that he does not provide employment. After realizing she had been conned, the woman confronted Swebe, who pledged to repay her by September 21, 2024. When a refund was not received, a police report was filed. The accused was detained on March 31 after the complainant pointed her out to the police. She was charged on Thursday. Man freed of charges in deadly Trelawney drive-by shooting. A man was charged in connection with a deadly drive-by shooting incident in Trelawney was freed on Wednesday morning before the Trelawney Circuit Court. Shamari O'Connor was freed after his attorneys Christopher Townsend and Danny Gooden challenged the identification evidence submitted by prosecutors. O'Connor was charged in 2018 for the murder of Ocean Robinson, Stewart Town, Trelawney. Prosecutors had evidence that the deceased and another man had a dispute over money. On the day of the incident, it was allegedly lured to the area under the guise that he would receive his money, but it was attacked and shot by people in a motor car. The police were alerted, and the car transporting the armed suspect crashed during a police chase. O'Connor and his wife, who were passengers in the vehicle, were found with injuries at the scene of the crash. Another occupant fled from the vehicle. O'Connor was later charged after he was identified by the sole witness who was in the company of Robinson during the shooting. But at the trial, the defense challenged the identification evidence, insisting that there was no evidence to prove their client was involved in the killing. Following submissions, the prosecutors conceded and offered no further evidence in the case. O'Connor was then ordered released. Leslie Campbell fined $400,000 for a breach of the Integrity Commission Act. Leslie Campbell, a former Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, was on Friday fined $400,000 for a breach in the Integrity Commission Act. Campbell was charged in 2023 following a recommendation from the Integrity Commission's Director of Corruption Prosecution, Keisha Prince Kamiko. The 63-year-old attorney was found guilty on December 12 in the Kingston and the St. Andrew Parish Court. The Integrity Commission said Campbell filed statutory declarations but did not provide additional information that had been requested. The Commission said the outstanding information includes the surrender value of 2 life insurance policies and the account balance linked to a bank loan. In addition to the fine, Senior Parish Court Judge Paula Blake Powell ordered that Campbell comply with the Integrity Commission's request by July 3. Campbell is to file his statement on the Sagicor bank account. He is also to provide his insurance policies and the periods and provide the cash surrender value and or investment value on the Sagicor life policies. Campbell's attorney, Matthew Hyatt, in his plea mitigation, described his client as a model citizen, explaining that he had dedicated part of his life to public service.
There were procedural breaches, and the court understood that he has always been a person of good character. He has no previous convictions, and he has always been frank and honest in his statutory declarations. And in fact, he has always filed his statutory declarations to the Integrity Commission. But nevertheless, we went to trial because we were of the firm belief that there were certain misunderstandings and mistakes. But the judge found him guilty, and we respect that decision. And Mr. Campbell has accepted the ruling, and we will just have to move on from here.
JBNN will keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.